Thank you, Mayor Natu, and Edmonton Global appreciates your leadership on the Edmonton Region Hydrogen Hub. As you're all aware, it's been a very exciting past 2 months on the hydrogen file, starting with the announcements of the hub in April, followed by announcements of plans for new hydrogen facilities by Suncor and ATCO, commitments to net zero greenhouse gas emissions by Alberta's oil sands producers, and the $1.3 billion commitment made by Air Products on June the 9th. As mentioned, the hub has been very busy in rolling out the business case and beginning what they are calling market sounding conversations with a number of important stakeholders from our region. All eyes continue to be on our region as the epicenter of the energy transition and the hydrogen economy in particular. And Edmonton Global is excited to provide you all an update on these activities, some future initiatives, and how we're organizing around the opportunity. So this morning I want to take a few moments to remind everyone of the region's value proposition and how we're at the center of the national and provincial approaches. I will provide a high-level summary of the hub's base case and market sounding process, a process that's now involving some of your staff from your own teams as we uncover opportunities for hydrogen use and some of the key enabling infrastructure for our region. And finally, I'd like to update you on some of the work the Edmonton Global recently did to help frame our own activities in support of the hub, in support of the economic opportunities associated with the drive to make hydrogen a key part of our net zero economy. If there's one slide that communicates our value proposition, it's this one. There's a growing awareness of the Edmonton region, that the Edmonton region has the strategic economic advantage of being one of the lowest cost producers of low carbon and now net zero hydrogen. This is due to the availability of plentiful, low-cost natural gas and our existing CO2 capture and storage infrastructure and a lot of highly specialized talent. Our cost of production is an order of magnitude less than other suppliers of hydrogen and second only to Russia, and that's not a country with a strong track record on CCS anywhere close to ours within the Edmonton region. And of course, we look to see continuous improvement in our own competitiveness as we gain more experience with CCUS and the production of natural gas through advanced technologies. This month's announcement of Air Products, by Air Products and their plans of other major hydrogen producing companies is a clear manifestation of world-leading competitive position, and we have opportunities to leverage this position across the entire hydrogen value chain, including transportation, heat and power, and ultimately exports, but also in areas like pipeline technology, Internet of Things, and digital energy technologies. As Mayor Natu mentioned, we have a strong policy foundation to build upon, including the Canadian Hydrogen Strategy, now being implemented by the federal government, as well as Alberta's natural gas strategy and vision. We understand Alberta's hydrogen roadmap is currently working its way through the cabinet process, and it will provide further clarity on how the province will work to ensure an attractive investment climate for hydrogen projects, production and demand. And of course, it was the Industrial Heartland Task Force report that really served as the catalyst for the federal and provincial strategies and ultimately led to the creation of the hub, and which will continue to influence the implementation of these strategies. Mayor Natu already spoke to the partnerships that the hub represents. The point of this slide is that our partners span multiple ministries, federal and provincially, including those with interests in energy, economic development, innovation support, investment attraction, Indigenous opportunities, and international trade. We have a growing list of regional leaders from our post-secondary institutions, our industry associations, as well as specific companies who I'll be speaking about in a few moments. And the team from the Transition Accelerator continues to ensure that the work of the hub is informed by sound techno-economic analysis. Again, just a reminder on our governance structure with the leadership of many of you on this call. Chaired by Mayor Natu, with active participation from Enoch Cree First Nation Chief Morin, Alexander Chief Arcand, Mayor Iveson, Mayor Frank, Mayor Cacture, and Lamont Reeve-Diddick. The management team comprises AIHA, Edmonton Global, Sturgeon County, Alberta Indigenous Opportunities Corporation, the Transition Accelerator, Western Economic Diversification, and Alberta Natural Gas and Electricity. As mentioned, we just wrapped up a 3-hour management retreat with a commitment to move to the hub to a new phase of engagement to position the hub for long-term success. The work of the hub is really at the demand tables with an initial focus on the commercial and municipal transportation fleets, involving staff from your municipalities and the Edmonton International Airport. We're now engaging other players on industry, heat and power, and ensuring we both have the perspectives of potential industrial users of hydrogen and those who are exploring some of the critical infrastructure that will help accelerate the build-out of demand. We have started to engage some of your teams on topics like heat and power needs and some of the municipally owned buildings in strategic locations, and I'll get to those in a few minutes. Finally, and a key group moving forward will be an economic development team co-chaired by Edmonton Global and AIHA that will be able to take the hub base case and translate this to meaningful economic outcomes, including full hydrogen value chain, our supply chains, the export market, the opportunities to attract companies such as OEMs. This work will build off a joint charter that has been developed between AIHA and Edmonton Global and how we will coordinate our activities around hydrogen production and hydrogen demand. Conceptually, this diagram from the Transition Accelerator outlines the approach the hub is taking to build out supply and demand in the region. We're starting with the availability of large-scale, low-carbon, net zero hydrogen, including a liquid hydrogen facility that is designed to serve the transportation market. This is consistent with Air Products' announcement where they will be constructing the only liquid hydrogen facility in Western Canada, making the Edmonton region the epicenter of this important emerging market. Hydrogen produced could also be used for other markets such as combined heat and power, new markets such as hydrogen locomotives, and potentially blending with natural gas distribution systems. The goal is to accelerate the growth of hydrogen demand across sectors, helping position our industries and the public for the net zero economy, and also helping us attract companies like OEMs to our region where we will be early movers. The hub is about presenting a compelling vision for the build-out of our hydrogen economy to maximize the economic, environmental, and social benefits. We want to be inclusive of the region, including opportunities to leverage our existing assets in the industrial heartland, our industrial parks, municipalities, and also some unique partners like the Edmonton International Airport. This map presents a 2030 future scenario, and in many ways, this is the minimum viable economy, the starting point. This would include infrastructure such as a hydrogen trunk line in operation, several buildings along this hydrogen line converted to full hydrogen for heating, ongoing blending into the natural gas network, pipeline network around Edmonton, the airport, onward towards Calgary, several pilot fueling stations in Edmonton Region, and the Calgary Economic Corridor fueled by trucks. Again, this is the vision of how we're starting the market, sounding discussions to test this model, and understanding the challenges, and also the areas where we can go further and faster. Another way to look at the infrastructure, this is a look at our existing infrastructure, some of which may be able to be repurposed for the hydrogen opportunity. On this slide, you'll see some purple lines. These are 3 discontinued pipelines that are in very strategic locations. We're working with some of these pipeline owners to explore opportunities around this infrastructure. On this slide, you'll see a number of purple circles. These are specific companies along the corridors who could be easily linked into the infrastructure, helping position them as early adopters of hydrogen for their facilities. We also map the natural gas gates and strategic locations for fueling stations, private and public. We're also talking to staff from some of your organizations to understand the energy needs of certain municipally owned buildings, determining if there are opportunities to be linked into this type of network. The hub team has had initial conversations in the base case with government funding bodies, utilities, existing and potential hydrogen producers, and the process is truly leading to uncovering of information that will allow us to refine the vision and connect organizations so they can realize larger outcomes. Through the work to date, we've been able to quantify the future hydrogen demand for transportation, 670 tons per day, and for buildings, potentially 1,500 tons per day. And of course, the export market would be orders of magnitude larger. So building off the last slide, we quickly see some of the highly strategic locations within the region, or what we call areas of interest. These are typically along some key infrastructure corridors, close to the production of hydrogen, and close to demand centers, such as fleet refueling centers or the EIA, which could be the center of a number of interesting use cases. The hub teams are now doing some deeper dives with a focus on these areas of interest. Now that the hub base case has been fleshed out, we're looking to move to the next phase of the market sounding process, where the hub is planning to release requests for information, asking the market to submit ideas or proposal frameworks on the best ways to achieve goals. Our initial thoughts are that RFIs would be focused on topics like distribution, fueling, and other projects. The process will help the hub uncover who is interested and in which aspects of which projects and the critical interdependencies. The process will also inform potential investors and funding organizations who have interest in being involved in this process. For example, the process could help build new partnerships with global partners such as OEMs looking to tap into our growing hydrogen markets. These three examples are simply notional at this point in time, but the approach would be to start at the local level, such as refueling stations, but over time growing this process out to opportunities to connect our region to other national and international markets. I'd like to switch gears now a bit and focus on how Edmonton Global is working to support the hub and the overall hydrogen economy. 2 weeks ago, our team held a virtual workshop to explore our role in the context of others, including the hub, AIHA, as well as provincial and federal governments. We started with a visioning exercise, and after a few rounds of input, we came up with a draft vision. As you know, Edmonton Global is about radically transforming and growing the region's economy. So as we look at a transformational opportunity like hydrogen, we know we need to have an ambitious vision. We see it rooted in the concept of energy transformation, so we came up with this. Beyond energy, Edmonton Global is the catalyst, bringing partners from across Canada and around the world, leading to the transformation of the Edmonton metropolitan region into the center of Canada's net zero hydrogen economy and a global model for what's possible. In this case, beyond energy means actively catalyzing and activating opportunities in sustainability, innovation, technology, leading to a more resilient, sustainable, and inclusive society. Our team felt it was important that while the immediate opportunity is well aligned with our economic and investment attraction goals, we don't want to forget our interests around sustainability, resiliency, and inclusion, all of which are well aligned with our overall ESG goals. Our focus will be on communicating our level of ambition. We're not about talking about incremental change, but rather moonshots, deliberate attempts at transformation. As I mentioned, the hub will be targeting some key parts of the hydrogen value chain, such as municipal and commercial fleets, but the hydrogen economy will provide opportunities for virtually all parts of the existing oil and gas supply chain, whether it's pipeline fabricators, companies involved in the metering of fluids, or those that will be monitoring subsurface formations being used for CO2 storage. We'll be keeping our eyes on ESG performance, connecting to the investment community that is increasingly relying on ESG metrics. And of course, deliberately attracting investment and improving the region's economy is our core business that will continue to drive our activities. We'll work in partnership with organizations like AIHA to ensure a coordinated approach to investment attraction, and also with provincial and national partners. Hydrogen has been identified by Invest Alberta as one of their strategic priorities. The federal government has placed a focus on the hydrogen opportunity, and the Trade Commissioner Service has become very aware of the hub and are connecting us to potential opportunities. We will only be successful by taking a coordinated approach based on the sharing of leads and informing ourselves on the opportunity. Our approach will focus on our role in enabling collaboration, inclusion, and innovation, and our networks have been critical to the hub team, connecting them to our companies, agencies, and innovators. These areas of focus translate to our strategic priorities in the following areas: communications and influence. We want to build, own, and control the narrative on the perception of hydrogen in the region. This narrative will go beyond energy to show our transformation. We want to provide thought leadership on the hydrogen economy and our role in it. Our messaging will be tailored to different audiences, and we'll work closely with Indigenous communities to ensure our approach reflects their unique needs and expectations. We want to advocate for policies, incentives, regulations needed to ensure the region can deliver maximum environmental, economic, and social outcomes. Engagement and facilitation will facilitate conversations on how to get our products to market. We'll anticipate opportunities and challenges and convene stakeholders to develop timely response strategies. We'll work with partners to lever R&D and accelerate technology commercialization, and build connectivity to other hydrogen hubs that share similar challenges and opportunities. We'll ensure that the region's diverse voices are recognized as we pursue the hydrogen opportunity. Building out hydrogen demand within the region. We'll be building relationships with businesses that can use hydrogen or provide key services, and help regional stakeholders become aware of the business case for the region and facilitate connections to potential partners. We'll be focusing on attracting investment to the region. We'll advocate for key enablers to secure industry investments and lever industry commitments to attract a diversified range of companies to the region and help scale companies already based in the region. We'll identify key hydrogen innovation leaders and develop focused engagement strategies with the aim of securing investments within the Edmonton metropolitan region. And finally, enabling hydrogen infrastructure. We identify strategic infrastructure for the Edmonton region that will further catalyze the hydrogen economy and attract investment. This will be informed by the Hub's base case and the market sounding process that I discussed earlier. So in closing, our immediate next steps are to ensure the Edmonton Global Plan is aligned with the Hub's go-forward plan that was discussed earlier today, but also aligned with other partners like the AIHA, as well as all of our municipalities. We'll be taking a leadership role in the Hub's new economic development team, which will allow us to take a more coordinated approach around investment attraction, ESG metrics, and engaging our domestic hydrogen value chain. Ultimately, our work will be driven by the goal of accelerating growth in hydrogen demand within the Edmonton metropolitan region. I mentioned that Alberta's pending hydrogen roadmap will be announced in the coming months, hopefully the coming weeks. We will continue to use our real-world experience and early mover role in providing leadership to the province as it moves forward to implement its roadmap. We're already taking a similar role with the federal government, where we're advocating for new hydrogen programming to focus on the critical enabling infrastructure for our hub, the first and the largest in Canada, and working to connect the region to key export markets such as Japan, Korea, and California. So with that, I'd like to turn it back to Marinatu and Malcolm and be happy to respond to any questions.